Wealth is a mental game first, a financial game second. Welcome. If you're holding this book, or hearing these words right now, it's no accident. Somewhere inside you, a quiet truth has been growing louder: you were not meant to play small. You were not born to merely survive, to chase paychecks, or to watch life happen from the sidelines. You were built for more. This isn't another book about budgeting tips or stock picks. This is a wake-up call, a direct invitation to step into the version of yourself who doesn't wait for wealth, but unleashes it from within. Over the pages ahead, you'll discover how the world's most successful people think, act, and build lives of extraordinary abundance, not through luck, but through identity, decision, and relentless action. So take a breath. Feel that shift? This is where your wealth era begins. Unleash your wealth. Master the mindset of success. Simo Benn. Wealth is a mental game first, a financial game second. When you change your inner world, your outer world follows. Unleash your wealth, master the mindset of success. The decision that changes everything. Rewiring the mindset, the inner upgrade. Emotional ownership, turning feelings into fuel. The science of personal power, how action reprograms destiny. Becoming the cause, creating your life on purpose. The declaration. The wealth identity, becoming the person success belongs to. Wealth is identity, not income. Identifying the invisible rules of wealth. The financial identity shift. From scarcity to strategy, mastering financial psychology. Wealth skills, the habits that turn drive into dollars. The wealth habits that guarantee success. The wealth environment, designing a life that demands success. Claiming the wealth identity. The action blueprint, turning intentions into results. Strategic planning, building the map of movement. Consistency and discipline, the compound effect of commitment. Mastering financial emotion, calm decisions, powerful results. Integration, turning action into identity. Master your state, master your results. The psychology of empowered modeling. Your mentorship path is a wealth strategy. About the book. Unleash your wealth, master the mindset of success. This isn't another financial tip book. This is a wake-up call. For years, people have been told that wealth is about luck, talent, or the right circumstances. But the truth is simple: wealth starts in your mind. Your beliefs, your identity, your decisions, these are the forces shaping your bank account long before you ever see a dollar. Inside Unleash Your Wealth, you'll discover how the world's most successful people think, act, and build extraordinary lives. You'll uncover the internal blocks that have silently limited your potential, and you'll learn the tools to break them forever. This book is a personal transformation experience disguised as a financial guide. You'll learn how to rewrite the money beliefs holding you back. Build unstoppable confidence and high-performance habits. Take bold action that creates real momentum. Turn goals into results through clarity and commitment. Create wealth that is aligned with your purpose, not stress or sacrifice. Through a powerful blend of mindset strategies, real-world action steps, and deeply practical financial principles, this book hands you the blueprint to become the kind of person who attracts success naturally. Because here's the ultimate truth. You don't need permission to be wealthy. You need a decision. Your breakthrough begins when you stop settling and start unleashing the power within you. This book is your invitation to rise, to challenge your limits, claim your potential, and live a life where wealth is not just a possibility, but your new standard. It's time to unleash your wealth. Your future is waiting. The decision that changes everything. There comes a moment in every person's life when the mirror stops lying. A moment when the excuses run out, when the story you've been telling yourself no longer feels comforting, and the quiet truth inside you grows too loud to ignore. It's the moment you realize that where you are is not where you want to be, and that nothing is going to change until you change. Most people wait for life to push them into transformation. They wait for a crisis, a heartbreak, a financial disaster, some external shock to force them into action. But the most powerful breakthroughs in history didn't begin with a tragedy, they began with a decision. A decision to no longer tolerate less than what you know you're capable of. A decision to step into the greatness that has been calling your name since the day you were born. That's what this chapter is about. Because the difference between wishing for wealth and unleashing it is the decision to finally take control of your destiny. If you're holding this book, you already feel that pull. You know you can't keep living on automatic. You know there's more inside you, more genius, more potential, more fire, waiting to be unlocked. Yet something has held you back. Something invisible, powerful, and deeply familiar. It might look like fear, doubt, procrastination, or playing it safe, but underneath all those masks is one root cause: identity. We don't get what we want, we get what we believe we deserve. We perform at the level of our standards, not our dreams. The wealth you're currently experiencing is a reflection of the identity you've been showing up with. And if you want a different financial reality, the shift begins not with spreadsheets or stock tips, but with who you choose to become starting right now. Every breakthrough in life begins with a moment of absolute clarity, a moment when you decide, with certainty, I will no longer settle. That decision is the birth of wealth. Because wealth isn't created by information, the world is drowning in information. Wealth is created by transformation, by turning knowledge into action, and action into unstoppable momentum. The richest people in the world are not the smartest, the luckiest, or the ones who started with the most. They are the ones who made the decision to demand more from themselves and their lives. They chose to lead instead of follow. They chose discomfort over stagnation. They chose to bet on their potential instead of their fears. And most importantly, they chose to stay committed long after their motivation faded. You might think you need confidence before you take action, but confidence is a reward, not a prerequisite. The most successful leaders began with uncertainty pounding in their chest. They took the step anyway. And with every step, their identity expanded. The action came first. The confidence followed. The world rewarded them because they moved. You do not need to have all the answers right now. You don't need permission, credentials, or proof. You only need one thing to begin the journey to extraordinary wealth: the courage to make a new decision, a decision powerful enough to erase the old one that has kept you small. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about total identity shift. When you make a true decision, not a try, not a hope, not a New Year's resolution, your brain reorganizes itself around that new standard. You start seeing opportunities you were blind to before. You start attracting people who elevate you instead of drain you. You stop negotiating with your limitations. A real decision cuts off every other possibility. Think of it as closing the exit doors that lead back to your old life. When you burn the boats behind you, forward becomes the only direction available, and that is where your greatness lives. You and I are going to take a journey through this book, and it will challenge you. It will push the boundaries of what you believe about wealth, success, impact, and what you're truly capable of. There will be moments when the old beliefs try to pull you back into the familiar. That's normal. Change triggers resistance because your comfort zone is threatened. But here's the truth most people never learn: comfort is a silent killer of dreams. It disguises itself as safety while stealing your potential. The life you want lies on the other side of discomfort, and once you cross that line, you never look at yourself the same way again. Right now, life is offering you a choice: continue as you are, or rise. Continue negotiating with fear, or command your future. Continue shaping your identity around your past, or define yourself by the possibilities ahead. Your decision today can become the pivot point, the moment you look back on years from now and say, that's when everything changed. Wealth is not a distant fantasy reserved for others. Wealth is a resource waiting to respond to the strength of your decision. The question that matters most is not, can I become wealthy? The question is, will I finally decide to? This book is not here to comfort you. It's here to activate you. To ignite the part of you that knows you were meant for more. To help you step into the identity of a person who creates wealth, not one who waits for it. It all starts with one powerful, life-defining moment. That moment is now. Take a breath. feel the shift, but skills, practical, applied financial skills, are the steering wheel that keeps you accelerating toward wealth instead of spinning in circles. Wanting to be wealthy isn't enough. Working hard isn't enough. Believing in yourself isn't enough. If you don't have the skills that create, manage, multiply, and protect wealth, then even the strongest desire leaks through the cracks. Wealth doesn't reward effort, it rewards the right actions repeated consistently. And the truth is, high achievers who never become wealthy aren't lacking work ethic, they're lacking the specific knowledge that turns effort into exponential results. There are 5 core wealth skills that shift someone from hustler to creator, from dreamer to builder. Income expansion. Wealth is created through cash flow, not just saving pennies. You must learn how to raise your value in the marketplace, whether through skills, entrepreneurship, brand authority, negotiation, or opportunity leverage. The people who rise are the people who refuse to accept fixed limits on their earning power. They constantly ask, how can I increase the number of people I help or the value I deliver? Income expansion is about growing contribution, and money follows contribution like a shadow follows light. Money management. You can't multiply what you can't control. Most people let their income evaporate because they're emotionally reacting to money instead of directing it. Wealthy people architect their finances like a builder constructs a skyscraper, with structure, purpose, and precision. They have systems. They track. They review. They make decisions that honor their future, not their impulses. They understand that money grows where it is respected. Strategic investing. This is where money stops being just a tool and becomes a teammate. Investing is the art of making your money work harder than you ever could. Whether in business, stocks, real estate, intellectual property, or digital assets, strategic investors understand that assets are what separate the wealthy from the worried. Every dollar becomes a worker, every worker brings back recruits, and over time your wealth compounds like a force of nature. Investing isn't just a skill, it's a responsibility to your future self. Risk navigation. The people who win are not the ones who avoid risk, they are the ones who manage it powerfully. They understand risk as information, not danger. They move forward even when the outcome isn't guaranteed, because they know that stagnation is the greatest risk of all. They cultivate the emotional courage to act before certainty arrives. Those who master risk build empires. Those who fear it remain spectators. Relationship capital. No one becomes wealthy alone. The biggest leaps in income, the greatest partnerships, the access to breakthrough opportunities, all of it comes through people. Your network isn't just a list of contacts, it's a dynamic ecosystem of collaboration, trust, and shared value. Wealth builders learn to communicate powerfully, serve generously, ask boldly, and surround themselves with people who expand possibility instead of shrinking it. The right relationships can compress decades of growth into months. Here's the beautiful truth, none of these wealth skills are innate. You don't have to be born with them. You can learn every single one. Skills are muscles, and the moment you train them, your financial future starts changing in real time. Once you combine a powerful identity with strategic habits and wealth skills, you become a dominant force in your own life. You stop waiting for a lucky break. You stop blaming the economy or your past. You stop shrinking your dreams to match your circumstances. Instead, you grow your circumstances to match your dreams. Wealth stops being a fantasy. It becomes a competency. A repeatable, predictable, expandable ability. And once you have the skills, no setback can erase your destiny. The wealth environment, designing a life that demands success. No person becomes truly wealthy in isolation. Your environment, the people you spend your time with, the spaces you inhabit, the media you consume, and the habits you cultivate, acts like an amplifier for your beliefs, actions, and identity. If you are constantly surrounded by scarcity, doubt, distraction, or negativity, your progress is limited no matter how driven you are. On the other hand, if you immerse yourself in success, abundance, and high standards, your growth accelerates almost automatically. Environment is not just external. It shapes your internal world, your thoughts, your energy, your sense of what is possible. And here's the truth most people miss: your external world will never exceed the limits of your environment. Look around at the people you admire. The ones who generate massive wealth, influence, and impact. You'll notice a pattern. They are deliberately curating every aspect of their lives. They are reading the right books, attending the right events, surrounding themselves with mentors, advisors, and peers who are stronger than they are. They are eliminating sources of negativity, comparison, and distraction. They create spaces, both physical and psychological, that demand higher performance. Success is not just a series of actions. It is a habitat in which excellence is the only option. Your wealth environment begins with people. If the people closest to you are constantly complaining, doubting, or minimizing dreams, your energy will always be diluted. You must either elevate those relationships or create new ones that stretch you. Mentors, coaches, strategic partners, and like-minded peers act as mirrors and accelerators, reflecting your potential and pushing you beyond your comfort zone. Surround yourself with people who expect more from themselves and, by extension, from you. Excellence is contagious, and so is mediocrity. Next is space, the physical environment that communicates standards to your brain. Cluttered, chaotic, or disorganized spaces subconsciously reinforce the idea that life is haphazard and opportunities are scarce. Clean, organized, inspiring environments reinforce clarity, energy, and possibility. Whether it's a home office, a workspace, or the city you live in, your environment should whisper, "I am here to operate at my highest level." The visual and sensory cues in your environment constantly remind your brain what's expected of you, and your results follow suit. Then comes media and input, the information, stories, and messages you feed your mind. Most people are binge-consuming content that limits possibility, news that emphasizes fear, social media that highlights scarcity, and entertainment that normalizes mediocrity. If you want to think like a wealth creator, your inputs must shift. Read books that expand your perspective. Listen to podcasts or attend seminars that challenge your thinking. Engage with thought leaders and innovators who model the success you want to achieve. Input becomes identity, and identity becomes output. Finally, your wealth environment is habits and rituals, the daily, weekly, and monthly actions that reinforce who you are becoming. It is not enough to know what to do once or twice, you must design repetition that becomes automatic. The wealthy environment demands consistent action, reflection, and recalibration. It includes morning routines that prime focus, financial check-ins that maintain strategy, skill-building exercises that compound over time, and celebrations of small wins that reinforce possibility. Every habit is a signal to your subconscious, "This is who I am." When your environment aligns with your identity and your goals, it becomes a silent force multiplier. Obstacles appear smaller. Opportunities are easier to spot. Momentum becomes effortless. Challenges feel like signals, not threats. And over time, your life begins to reflect the high standards your environment consistently reinforces. You stop fighting against inertia. You start moving with the natural flow of a system designed to produce success. Here's the ultimate takeaway: you are the average of the 5 environments you allow yourself to inhabit most consistently. Not just people, but spaces, inputs, habits, and rituals. Design them consciously. Protect them fiercely. Upgrade them relentlessly. When you do, wealth is no longer a goal to chase, it becomes the inevitable outcome of the life you've constructed. Your environment doesn't just support wealth, it demands it. Claiming the wealth identity. You've spent this chapter stepping beyond scarcity, dismantling old rules, and learning how to think, act, and design your life like someone who doesn't just want wealth, someone who expects it. But knowledge alone is meaningless without integration. Reading about success doesn't create success. Understanding financial psychology doesn't automatically change your bank account. The difference between the wealthy and the hopeful is not ideas, it's identity and applied action. Ask yourself this: who are you becoming in your pursuit of wealth? Are you the person who waits for luck, or the person who designs your future? Are you the one who reacts to fear, or the one who leverages strategy and skill to move decisively? Right now, there are role models whose footsteps align with the financial future you are building. They are living the results you want. They are proving what is possible every day. They embody the identity, discipline, relationships, habits, and strategies that create wealth. They are not better than you. They are simply earlier. Your job is not to reinvent. Your job is to observe, absorb, apply, and elevate. Mentorship removes guesswork. It removes loneliness. It removes years of avoidable setbacks. It moves your starting line closer to the finish line. Learning from success is not optional if you want to build wealth rapidly. It is essential. It is strategic. It is transformational. The future you deserves this. You are not reading this chapter by accident. At some point in your life, something inside you recognized that the path you were walking was smaller than the path you were made for. This chapter is the moment you stop apologizing for wanting more and start preparing to receive more. You now understand that wealth leaves clues. Mentorship accelerates mastery. The right people elevate your identity. Your circle influences your success. Proximity rewires what is possible. You are responsible for who shapes your journey. You are surrounded by opportunities to evolve. You are surrounded by models of greatness. You are surrounded by pathways to prosperity. Your job now is to choose which influences will guide your future. There is someone already living a version of the life you want. Follow their lead with intention. Not to become them. To become the best version of yourself. Greatness becomes inevitable when you learn from those who already achieved it. You are now ready for that level of evolution. The chapter ends here. Your rise continues. Master your state, master your results. Your emotional state is the source code of your success. Every decision you make, every action you take, every risk you embrace or avoid is controlled not by your knowledge, not by your skill, but by the state you are in at the moment you choose. People don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because in the critical moment, they allow a weak emotional state to dictate their decisions. Fear whispers louder than desire. Doubt feels heavier than ambition. Comfort feels safer than growth. All progress begins with the mastery of state because your state determines whether you take action or freeze, whether you lead or follow, whether you stretch or shrink. When you learn to command your emotional state, you take back control of your destiny. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You stop letting circumstances dictate who you are and start shaping the circumstances around you. Every single day, the quality of your life is determined by the emotional conditioning you allow. Some people have trained themselves into fear, trained themselves into paralysis, trained themselves into settling. They feel stuck because their state is stuck. They wake up already bracing for limitations. They step into the day with a heavy mind that crushes their possibilities before they even take the first step. Wealth cannot grow in a state of hesitation. Confidence cannot grow in a state of self-doubt. Action cannot grow in a state of overthinking. Success requires a new level of emotional power, a peak state that becomes your default rather than an occasional spark. The world's highest performers do not wait for motivation. They generate momentum from within. They decide how they show up. They take command of their physiology, their focus, and their meaning. They build emotional muscle so they can perform even when their feelings try to sabotage them. There is a crucial truth most people never learn: your state is not random. It is not luck. It is not a reaction you are forced to endure. Your state is something you can create on demand, shape deliberately, and use strategically. Think about a time when you felt unstoppable, confident, clear, in full control of yourself. That wasn't an accident. Something triggered that state. Maybe it was music, movement, a success, a compliment, or a moment of clarity. Something in your physiology or your focus or your interpretation shifted, and instantly your identity upgraded. The problem is not that people never experience powerful states. The problem is that they treat those states as temporary gifts instead of repeatable strategies. You must flip the script. you must turn those rare peaks into daily rituals. Every human state is built through three forces: physiology, focus, meaning. Change any one of them and your state changes instantly. If you shift all three, you transform your reality. Wealth builders master this. They understand that low energy creates low income. A tired mind settles for small opportunity. A confident mind creates bold action. Your body is the ignition switch of your psychology. If you slump your posture, breathe shallow, and tighten your face, your brain shifts into survival mode. Fear rises. Possibility shrinks. On the other hand, if you move with intensity, breathe powerfully, lift your chest, open your hands, and take up space, your brain receives a message: we are in control. We are powerful. We act. You are always sending signals to your nervous system. The question is whether you are sending powerful signals or powerless ones. Focus determines whether you see opportunity or threat. Two people can face the exact same situation and produce opposite results purely based on where their attention goes. Wealthy individuals train their minds to search for solutions, leverage, and possibility. They ask resourceful questions like, what can I learn here? How can I use this? Where is the advantage? People who struggle financially focus on fear, problems, and limitations. They ask disempowering questions like, why does this always happen to me? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? The brain is obedient. It will always find evidence to support the question you ask. Change your focus, and the world around you changes with it. Meaning is the story you attach to reality. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. A setback can be interpreted as a sign to quit or a challenge to rise. A delay can be seen as rejection or preparation. A failure can be labeled humiliation or education. Wealthy minds interpret adversity as the training that builds their future. They extract value from every experience. They refuse to let circumstances define them. They define the circumstances. They take what others call defeat and turn it into strategy. They shape meaning that serves their purpose instead of sabotaging it. Once you commit to mastering your state, you discover a new level of personal power. Nothing external controls you anymore. Not opinions. Not delays. Not setbacks. You command your response. You choose your learning. You decide your resilience. From that moment forward, success becomes inevitable because nothing can interrupt your momentum. You no longer wait for the world to give you permission. You generate your own green lights. You take action in times when others freeze, you create opportunity when others see none, and you rise where others collapse. Emotional mastery is the ultimate wealth advantage. The greatest breakthroughs happen when you act from a state of total certainty. Not false confidence. Not arrogance. Certainty. Certainty is the emotional signal that tells your brain, this must happen. I will find the path or create one. Wealth is built by those who take action even when logic says to wait. Opportunity does not reward hesitation. It rewards conviction. You build certainty by stacking victories. Every time you take courageous action, your brain learns that you are someone who follows through. You expand what you believe you can handle. You strengthen your identity through repetition. Wealth becomes not something you hope for but something you expect. Right now, every outcome in your life is a reflection of the state you live in most of the time. If you want new outcomes, you must live in a new state more consistently. Not sometimes. Not when you feel like it. Every day. Every morning. Every moment where decisions matter. Emotional mastery becomes your standard. You must train it like a muscle. You are practicing a state every day whether you realize it or not. Stress is a state you practice. Overthinking is a state you practice. Doubting yourself is a state you practice. What you practice becomes automatic. So the fastest transformation begins with deciding what emotional states you will practice instead. Imagine living in a state of energy that pulls you forward instead of a state of fear that holds you back. Imagine entering every opportunity with a mind that sees advantage instead of danger. Imagine scarcity thinking people believe spending is losing. Abundance thinking people believe spending is transformation when done intentionally. Every financial decision sends a message to your subconscious. When you invest in your growth, your education, your health, your business, you reinforce the belief that you are worth it. You strengthen the identity of someone who expects a higher return in life. When you refuse to invest in yourself because you fear loss, you reinforce the belief that you cannot trust your future to pay you back. Your money blueprint learns from your behavior. If you treat yourself as limited, your results will remain limited. Energy must move to expand. When money comes into your possession, it brings with it a question: will you grow this or will you shrink from it? Every dollar is a test. Those who fear money make decisions from stress. Those who respect money make decisions from possibility. You must condition yourself to operate from trust rather than fear. Trust does not mean carelessness. Trust means alignment. It means using money in ways that create more life instead of protecting it so tightly that it suffocates. Money flows to those who take responsibility for its direction. It avoids those who act like victims of external circumstances. If you blame the economy, the government, the job market, your upbringing, or anyone else for your financial situation, you are disconnecting yourself from the energy of creation. Money responds to creators. It responds to leaders. It responds to those who take ownership of results. When you claim responsibility, you gain power. You gain influence over your financial future. You gain the ability to shift your situation through action rather than waiting for someone else to save you. Every belief you have about money either opens the flow or blocks it. If you believe money is dangerous, you will sabotage opportunities. If you believe money corrupts, you will reject success even when it comes your way. If you believe money is hard to earn, you will create struggle even when simplicity is available. These beliefs are not harmless. They are energetic roadblocks. They create friction in the flow. You must identify every belief that limits your financial expansion and replace it with a belief that supports abundance. This is your duty to yourself, your future family, and your potential. Your energy toward money is communicated through emotion. If you panic when money is mentioned, if you stress every time you check your balance, if you feel guilt when you think about wealth, then money reads that energy as rejection. It does not stay where it feels unwanted. You must learn to feel calm, confident, and empowered in your financial life. This emotional shift is not a luxury. It is a requirement for wealth. People who love money in a healthy way attract more of it. People who resent or fear it repel it without realizing why. The fastest way to increase the flow of money is to increase the flow of gratitude. Gratitude instantly shifts energy from scarcity to abundance. When you appreciate what you have, you create space for more. Complaining constricts. Gratitude expands. Most people wait to feel grateful until they reach a certain level of wealth. That is a mistake. Wealth grows because of gratitude, not the other way around. Even small amounts of money deserve respect. Every coin is a symbol of possibility. Treat money like a friend and it will stay. Treat it like an enemy and it will escape. Contribution is the highest form of circulation. Money grows in the hands of those who use it to improve the world around them. When you give generously, you become part of a larger ecosystem of abundance. You are signaling that there is more than enough to share. You are aligning yourself with the flow of energy that returns multiplied. Giving is not losing. Giving is circulation. Giving is power. Giving trains your subconscious to believe in your own prosperity. It says, I have enough. I will always have enough. That mindset attracts limitless opportunity. Money moves toward the bold. Energy responds to courage. If you want the flow to increase, take bigger actions. Make decisions that scare you in the best possible way. Pursue goals that stretch your imagination. The more you expand, the more money expands with you. Playing small chokes the current. Playing big activates it. You must refuse to shrink your dreams to fit your comfort. Expand your courage to match your vision. Money rewards the brave because the brave are the ones who create value others never imagined. You are the source of circulation. You decide whether money is a force that amplifies your mission or a fear that controls your decisions. When you move with conviction, wealth recognizes leadership. When you move with doubt, wealth senses the instability and pulls away. Your relationship with money must transform from survival to partnership. Money is not the enemy. Money is the amplifier. It magnifies whatever you give it. Give it purpose. Give it direction. Give it meaning. Your future success depends on how well you command this energy. When money enters your life, ask yourself how you will multiply the impact of every dollar. When money leaves your life, ask yourself what investment of energy it will return to you. Nothing is random. Everything is part of the flow. You cannot cling to every coin expecting growth. Money must breathe. Money must move. Money must work. You are not just earning money. You are directing energy. You are guiding a powerful force that responds to your mindset and your movement. The more aligned your energy becomes with abundance, the more the world reflects that abundance back to you. This chapter is your invitation to stop chasing money and start leading it. You are entering a new financial identity where wealth is not a fantasy or a privilege. Wealth is a natural outcome of the energy you command. You are the current. You are the flow. You are the circulation. Money responds to the level of self-respect you carry. If you treat yourself like someone who is barely surviving, money will treat you the same. If you speak and act like someone who is building an extraordinary financial future, money will show up for you with new opportunities that match your identity. The way you think about yourself becomes the limit or the liberation of your wealth. When you believe you are worthy of an exceptional life, your behavior shifts automatically. You negotiate differently. You charge differently. You invest differently. You no longer tolerate environments that drain your opportunities. You walk like someone who expects to win. Money gravitates toward that kind of certainty. Most people do not fail because of lack of resources. They fail because of lack of resourcefulness. Money is not the starting point. Energy is the starting point. Creativity. Courage. Passion. Discipline. The ability to see possibilities where others see problems. The individuals who create wealth do not look for reasons they can't. They look for ways they must. They know that the future is shaped by those who refuse to wait for permission. Money follows clarity. Money follows leadership. Money follows those who take responsibility for their outcomes rather than accepting the default path everyone else takes. Fear stops circulation. Every time fear tells you to delay your dreams, you slow the flow. Every time fear tells you to play safe, you miss the chance to expand. Every time fear tells you to shrink your goals, you step out of alignment with your potential. Fear is a signal that the next level is near. The presence of fear means the opportunity is real. If there was nothing to gain, there would be nothing to fear. Successful people feel fear every day, but they do not allow fear to make decisions. They take action first and let courage grow from movement. Courage is a product of motion, not a requirement for starting. Money flows through confidence. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is self-trust. It is the internal knowing that says, I will figure this out. When you take action without needing guarantees, you create a draw that pulls resources toward you. People want to invest in confidence. They want to follow confidence. They want to support confidence. Confidence makes people believe in your future as if it is already real. When you walk into a room with a spirit that says, my success is inevitable, opportunities respond to that energy instantly. To expand your wealth, expand your environment. Proximity is power. The people you spend time with either accelerate your financial flow or block it completely. If you surround yourself with minds that complain, minds that fear, minds that settle, you begin absorbing their energy unconsciously. Their limits become your limits. Their doubts become your doubts. Their scarcity becomes your scarcity. You must choose environments where abundance is normal and ambition is celebrated. Be around people who